Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a Bump by Bump Rundown.
Wide world of wiggle.
My name is Danny Bedrosian.
George Dr. Funkenstein Clinton.
And we are coming to you, brought to you by George's Patreon, patreon.com/George Clinton P-Funk, where every month you can receive at the $20 level free gifts from George's catalog, things that never came out, such as Funkadelic's The Last Time Zone, supposed to be released in 1999 and only reaching ears for the first time now in 2025, but only if you join George's Patreon at the $20.
That's a good way.
You like that?
I like that. I like that.
And then, of course, like, follow, and subscribe to these videos. It really helps us with the algorithm. We're trying to reach, get over 1,000 followers on the Patreon YouTube. So please tell your friends, spread the word. There's already a real bump by bump effect going down with a past episode, Ernie Harris's Hold On. I had one of the patrons sent me a photo of 2 copies of Hold On
right.
45 that he bought online.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
The 2 different versions, too. The 2 different,
right.
The 2 different looking 45s.
It was the Epic and OK.
Okay.
Wow, we getting old, man. Not only is it a record, it's a
45.
A 45 record.
45 record. So if you get the one-up, the patrons get these episodes a month in advance of the rest of the world. You guys are all seeing it on YouTube, but you, George's patrons, the P patrons, are getting the Bump by Bumps a month before everybody else. So while everybody else is getting episode 9, they're getting episode 10 a month ahead. And they get the jump on everybody else. If it's the more obscure the track, the harder it is going to be to find once they buy all the existing copies on eBay.
No kidding.
So join the Patreon and you'll get a one-up on the Bump by Bump.
And some of these we never even put out.
Some stuff is real obscure. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Now this one is kind of in the middle. It's a song that the band released as a studio track on a live album called Live and Kickin'. Came out in 1998. I remember the day it came out. I went to Newbury Comics in Boston and bought my copy on CD.
Young guy here.
2 disc. Yeah, I was 17 when that came out. And much like the P-Funk Earth Tour, Parliament Live album from 77, much like that album had The Landing and This Is the Way We Funk With You and Fantasy is Reality.
Right.
Live and Kickin' in the 90s had 3 studio tracks. State of the Nation. Ain't Nothing But a Jam, Y'all.
Right.
And today's Bump by Bump entry, Good Love. So.
That's funny.
As most people know, or for people who know about R&B from the 80s and 90s, it is a pretty well-known Anita Baker song.
Good Love.
Yeah. Written by Gary Taylor.
Very good song. Anita sang the hell out of that song.
What was the impetus for you guys recording it?
Blackbird's playing. Blackbird's ability to quote anything he hear, and she made such good licks on that song. She did such good licks of her voice and all the different tags of the song. Mm-hmm. And I know he could do that. And I love the song anyway. And so that was like me wanting to show off his guitar playing. He was like, it's like Eddie Hazel, Michael Hampton, all of them. You can play any way you want to play.
Yeah. And
his ability to articulate what she was singing and so minutely that I had to do that. I just told him to do this song, Blackberry, play everything.
Nice.
Just like that, play everything. Now there's some controversy.
There's some controversy here, right.
There's some that he might have overdubbed the bass player on. I know Lonnie
Motley is,
but I wasn't aware of that particular part of it.
Likewise. And I believe this is from an interview with Bird. I can't think of who else I would have talked to about it because it's Bird on the track. So I interviewed Blackbird for the book, the authorized P-Funk song reference, along with George and everybody else. And Bird had actually said in an interview that it's all him except the bass. He said they overdubbed Lonnie Motley. So, Lonnie, if you're watching this, maybe you can confirm or deny, or maybe somebody else who was around. But where did you guys cut it?
Well, the Bird worked on it at my house.
Right.
So once he dumped it, he dumped it at United.
Right. And you guys, but he recorded it at your house?
Yeah.
In Michigan?
Yeah, in Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah, out on the farm.
When do you think that was, roughly?
Early,
early 90s?
Early 90s.
Yeah, okay, because it came out in 98.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
It's been early 90s.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, cool. And, I mean, monstrous track. I remember when we did the jazz cruise, the Capital City Jazz Cruise, and Layla Hathaway was there.
Right.
And me and Lige went to her show, and she did Good Love. She did her version of Good Love, and I'm sure most of you know Layla. Wow. And that's the same night that she did When Your Life Was Low and this is me. I've never cried from a singer. The singer never made me cry, right? She sang When Your Life Was Low. I'm here, I was like that, you know what I mean?
No, she do that.
Oh my goodness.
That's a Hathaway girl.
And she did, right. And she did Good Love. And then Lige, I think Lige, when he pointed it out, he looked at me, he said, "That's Gary Taylor sitting right next to us. He wrote this song." And then at the end of the song, she said, "Gary, are you in here?" And he stood up, and they put the light right on him right next to him.
Oh, wow.
So that's
a piece of music there.
Yeah.
That's a piece of music. And like I said, Blackbird playing it.
Playing the vocal.
The vocal
right?
part. He played every nuance that she did. He played that. And I couldn't wait for no album to put it on.
Well, I was going to ask you, what was that for? Was that for anything?
No, just so we were doing a greatest funkin' hit. And when we do greatest records, I always try to put a couple of new ones on there just for the, especially the artsy-fartsy ones that probably won't get played on the radio if I put them out as a single or something.
Well, you know what's interesting is one song from that out from Live and Kickin' did get a little bit of play. It was Ain't Nothing But a Jam, y'all got.
Oh yeah. Well, see,
it charted. Yeah,
but that's what was it?
Daz Band.
Daz Band. I did that with them too.
Yeah.
I did a version of that with them, and
right.
You know, it's such a good piece of commercial music.
Yeah.
I thought that, you know, in this record, somebody's gonna say eventually, where this come from? Why is this in here? And when you get some kind of controversy, it makes it interesting what we're doing now. We're kicking it about it.
Right, exactly.
And to this day, somebody will find Good Love and play it on these jazz stations.
Yeah.
It's like, how come we never heard of this?
Right.
Because it was that crazy Funkadelic group. You didn't take them. They don't take it serious until years later.
That was also that period in between the awesome power of a fully operational mothership, 96, and How Late, 2005, where there weren't any full-on studio records. There were compilations. The Greatest Funkin' Hits came out in that period. Live and Kickin' came out in that period. Iceberg's Dead Ahead, that's what the Warning read, came out in that period. Get your ass in the water and swim like me. And a couple of the live albums, right? But Live and Kickin' is kind of like an evolved version of that 4-disc that came out in '93 on, I think it was P-Vine.
Yeah.
The 4-disc. We used to call that the Bible.
Yeah,
when I was a little kid, we used to get the Bible out.
That's the one that I really, because like the original live album, where we put everything on the record, even the noise that the people made.
Yes.
We did that one the same way.
Yes.
But the other one, we actually remixed it.
Live and Kickin'. It's got a few different tracks on it, too.
Yeah, we did Flashlight over again.
It's got, that's Greatest Funkin' Hits.
Greatest Funkin' Hits,
that's from the remake.
Yeah, it's got Busta Rhyme and...
Q-Tip and Old Dirty Bastard.
Old Dirty Bastard, right. Mm-hmm. Oh, I still remember that session. That was a great session.
It's a cool session, yeah.
That was a cool session,
That's some great stuff there. The Live and Kickin' has... It's like edited versions of stuff from that 4-disc. So it has that long Funkadelic, but it's edited down. It's got the Charlie from that same series, but it's edited down a little bit.
Right.
And then it's got some other stuff that's not on that 4-disc series. Like it's got you doing that Let's Get Satisfied and Dope Dogs from Prince's. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. That's a story. We need to do one probably on that.
We'll do one on that.
On Let's Get Satisfied and Dope Dog.
As a
thing. Because that's a story why I ended up doing that song over top of that
On
song.
top of, yeah, right.
That's a story by itself.
That's wild. Yeah, because, you know, Live and Kickin' itself, I mean, it's a live album, you know, and I remember when people talked about how, was it James Brown's first album is Live at the Apollo? Is that right? Is James Brown's first album Live at the Apollo?
Probably.
Or is it first big?
It's the first big one.
That was, nobody was expecting that. In those days, they said a live album can't go gold, or it can't, you know what I mean? It can't be a big seller. And this is kind of like another, you know, evidence of that when you have Parliament Live, P-Funk Earth Tour from 1977, another live album that went gold.
Right,
Or, you know, or platinum. Gold or platinum. And then you have something like Live and Kickin', which, although it's the 90s, it's a later period, but you've got songs charting on this live album, you know? And it's a really great album if you guys haven't heard it. It might be kind of hard to find because, again, it came out in a period in between releases. And unless you were a diehard and you were just looking for whatever the newest P-Funk thing that was out there at the record store, you might not be able to find it. Again, it came out on CD when CDs were bigger.
Right.
And I don't think there's a digital version of this album. I don't think.
I'm not sure of that.
I don't think.
There's so much legal stuff going on.
Right, sure. Whereas, you know, some of the P-Vine stuff from like half a decade before, you can find a good portion of that stuff.
Yeah, the P-Vine stuff, because, you know, that's Japan.
Right.
You can actually find a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. But the this stuff, you know, Good Love, it might be harder to find. It's probably on YouTube, but this is one that...
Oh, it's on YouTube.
It is?
Yeah, it's on YouTube, yeah.
This is one that some of the P-Funk fans might not be aware of. They might not be aware that Blackbird McKnight performed Anita Baker's classic song on a P-Funk
You want to
All-Stars.
check that one out.
Yeah, on a P-Funk All-Stars record. It is a slick, pretty, very nicely recorded song.
Artsy fartsy.
Yeah. And, you know, jazz, I mean, if you didn't know Blackbird, if you weren't very, like, hyper aware of his tone, right, you might think it was, you know, like a smooth jazz, soft rock, soft jazz type record, you know, that could go on any of those 90s jazz radio stations at that time.
Right.
You know, it fit in perfect with that sound, you know. Totally marketable for that sound. And once again proving that P-Funk can play any genre.
Anything. Yeah.
Anything else you want to share about Good Love that you can think of?
No, nothing but I want to get to play that on the stage. I talked to Blackbird just recently, so he's feeling good.
Nice.
Yeah, he might end up playing something. Yeah.
Nice. You heard it here first. So, Good Love, P-Funk All-Stars, Live and Kickin'. Check it out. Once again, like, follow, and subscribe to these videos. Hit the bell so you know when new videos are available. Join George's Patreon. George Clinton. It's patreon.com/George Clinton P-Funk. And join at the $20 level, and you will get new, unreleased, never before heard song as a gift for you, the P patrons. You will get your P pills from the doctor. You know, your P prescription. Once again, my name is Danny Bedrosian.
George Dr. Funkenstein Clinton.
And this has been a bump by bump rundown.
Wide world of wiggle.
Subscribe.
Kiss me on my ego.